If you're older than 25, you probably remember a time when it wasn't easy or even possible for law enforcement to work together on cases. Multi-district murderers might never be brought up on charges in any of the crimes because they were often long gone by the time the investigation was underway, and sometimes they would only be caught for one of several murders. And back then, any of the professions that could cause people to drive over long distance regularly could exploit this rather easily. Highway serial killers, they are called. And for clarity's sake, the term highway serial killer refers to a type of serial killer who targets individuals traveling on highways and often dispose of their victims' bodies in remote locations, making it difficult for law enforcement to identify the killer and their victims. The majority of these victims are women, often prostitutes or hitchhikers, or both, because they are significantly more vulnerable to this type of killer due to their lifestyle. A good example of this is Robert Ben Rhoades, also known as the truck stop killer. Rhoades was a long-haul trucker who had been operating along the highways from the 1970s until about 1990, when he was arrested for sexual assault, aggravated assault, and unlawful imprisonment. He was eventually linked to the murders of at least 3 women and is believed to have committed around 50 murders. So to address this massive oversight for law enforcement, the Highway Serial Killers Initiative was created. More specifically, the Highway Serial Killers Initiative began after a group of investigators from several states noticed a pattern of unsolved murders along the highways that ran through their jurisdictions. These investigators realized that the murders were likely being committed by a serial killer or serial killers who were targeting vulnerable individuals traveling on the highways, but they were limited in their ability to track or investigate the killers in these situations. So they contacted the FBI, which agreed to help coordinate an investigation into these crimes. And just like that, the Highway Serial Killers Initiative was born as a joint effort by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and local law enforcement agencies nationwide to investigate and prevent the crimes committed by serial killers who prey on victims traveling along the nation's highways, particularly hitchhikers, sex workers, and runaways. The initiative was launched in 2004 and has since identified dozens of cases involving serial killers who use the nation's highways as a hunting ground. The initiative has led to the arrest and conviction of numerous serial killers and raised awareness about the dangers of traveling alone on the nation's highways. The initiative has had some notable successes over the years. In 2007, the FBI arrested a truck driver named Adam Lane who had been linked to the murders of at least 6 women in several states. Lane had been using his job as a truck driver to travel across the country and prey on vulnerable women along the highways. The initiative focuses on identifying patterns and connecting cases across different jurisdictions. Investigators from different states share information about unsolved murders along their highways and work together to identify potential suspects. The initiative also works to raise awareness about the dangers of hitchhiking and picking up strangers along the highways, especially for women. One of the key challenges faced by the Highway Serial Killers Initiative is the difficulty of identifying victims and linking them to specific crimes. The killers often dispose of their victims' bodies in remote areas, making it difficult for law enforcement to find them. In addition, many of the victims are transient and may not have close friends or family who will immediately report them missing. To address this challenge, the initiative works to raise awareness among truckers and other frequent travelers who may encounter suspicious activity along the highways. The Highway Serial Killers Initiative has also led to improvements in law enforcement coordination and communication. By sharing information and working together, investigators from different states have been able to identify patterns and link cases that may have otherwise gone unsolved. The initiative has also helped raise awareness among the public about the dangers of traveling alone on the highways, especially for women. However, the initiative is not without its critics. Some have argued that it's too focused on truckers and other commercial drivers, while neglecting other groups who may be at risk along the highways. Others have raised concerns about racial profiling, noting that many of the victims of highway serial killers are women of color. The initiative has responded to those criticisms by working to increase outreach to other vulnerable populations, such as runaway teenagers and homeless individuals. Despite these challenges, the Highway Serial Killers Initiative remains an important tool for law enforcement in identifying and apprehending serial killers who prey on vulnerable victims along the nation's highways. One of the key factors in the success of the initiative has been its ability to bring together law enforcement agencies from across the country to share information and collaborate on cases. By working together, investigators have been able to identify patterns and similarities in the crimes committed by these serial killers, which has led to the identification and apprehension of several suspects. Another important aspect of the Highway Serial Killers Initiative is its emphasis on victim identification and family notification. Many of the victims of these serial killers are unidentified or have been missing for years, making it difficult for investigators to really figure out who these victims are. By prioritizing victim identification and family notification, the initiative is not only able to bring closure to the families of the victims, but it also helps investigators to build a stronger case against the perpetrators. Despite the successes of the Highway Serial Killers Initiative, there are still some challenges that law enforcement must overcome. One of the biggest challenges is the vast size of the highway system and the difficulty in monitoring every stretch of road. In addition, there are often jurisdictional issues that arise when multiple law enforcement agencies are involved in a case, which can lead to delays and communication breakdowns. Though in a lot of ways, both of these are becoming simpler and simpler as technology progresses. Another challenge is the lack of funding and resources for the initiative. While the initiative has been successful in identifying and apprehending several serial killers, it is often underfunded and understaffed, making it difficult to fully investigate every case. Despite these challenges, the Highway Serial Killers Initiative remains a vital tool for law enforcement in the fight against serial killers who prey on vulnerable victims along the nation's highways. With continued support and resources, the initiative has the potential to make a significant impact in identifying and apprehending these dangerous predators and bringing closure to the families of their victims. If you liked this video, please like or subscribe. I'm trying to get 1,000 subscribers by August 2023. Help me out. But if you want to continue lurking underneath the floorboards, I bet you'll really enjoy this video about types of serial killers. It's pretty in-depth, so get ready to nerd out, and I hope to see you again soon, because there's always something lurking underneath the floorboards. Somewhere.